Hey ladies, calling all entrepreneur women, creatives, visionaries, and builders. This is your host, Holly Wright, and welcome to the Her Podcast. Hey ladies, thanks again for listening to the Her Podcast. I hope you guys had a wonderful 4th of July. It's been a minute since we recorded, so welcome back. I'm super honored and excited to welcome the beautiful Gianni. She is new to our podcast. She is a fitness coach and also the founder of She Club, which I'm super excited to get to know your story. So Gianni, welcome to the podcast.
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you on. I think I've kind of followed you a little bit on Instagram, and I love your personal development. I love your content. You strive to empower women. So let's dive in. Why don't you tell us a little bit kind of like what you do and how you first stepped into the fitness world?
Yeah. So I am now transitioning to more of an online fitness coach.
Okay.
So I'm also the founder of She Club, and I, like you said, I'm really big on the community aspect and honestly, just being friends with every girl. I really thrive in that. But I basically started my fitness journey when I was 17. And a lot like everyone, you kind of go through that whole phase of, am I going to gain the freshman 15 in college and all that kind of good stuff? And I did gain it. And during that time, I had reached out to a trainer who was local. And back then, Instagram was so different. You weren't reaching out to a trainer on Instagram. It was maybe I saw a trainer at my gym, and that was kind of the way you reached out. But I knew someone from high school, and he was the only fitness coach that I knew at the time. And I was like, I want to change my life. And basically the reason that I got to that point was you hit that rock bottom where you just think to yourself, if I keep living like this, nothing good will come out of it. You hit that breaking point. And so I reached out to a trainer, and at the time things were just so different. And, the style of coaching was different compared to what I do now, but it worked. And my body responded really well to working with a trainer and working with a coach. And I was just so excited about it. So I got into the world of competing in competitive bodybuilding. And so cool. That was an up and down for years.
And that's a whole nother skill. I feel like it's one thing to jump in the fitness world and be new to transforming your body, but then a whole different level of competing like that. You've made it to the top if you can hit that.
Yeah, it was quick too. And it was honestly within a span of 4 weeks. And he was also new to that world, but he was kind of like, hey, maybe you could do this. Do you want to try it? And I think I, at that point, was 18. Okay. So I was like, okay, I'll try it. I had no muscle mass on me, but I was like, yeah, sure. So then that led me into my competitive path for a few years.
Okay.
And then after that, I kind of strayed away from competitive bodybuilding, and I was like, hey, I could maybe do this. I could do this for a job. And at the time I was going to grad school for my master's in psychology. And then during that whole process, I was writing my thesis on sports psychology and things like that. So around that time, they kind of just meshed together, and I created my own training business, and here I am.
That's amazing. And I love that it started with just a season of you just hitting your rock bottom, because I feel like a lot of stories I hear with people who are so successful or have such a passion for the purpose that they do, it all started from the ground up.
Yeah.
What is something that inspired you to get into fitness? I know that you said you started, you just kind of hit rock bottom. And then having connections with the right person. Was there a moment you realized you wanted to turn your passion into a business?
Yeah. So in terms of kind of my business life, I didn't imagine that I was going to be financially successful.
Okay.
Not that I thought it wasn't possible for me. I came from a family where the wife never worked.
Okay. Same.
So
Same.
Not that it was a bad thing if she did. It was just, you marry rich and you don't have to work, and that's just kind of what I always thought my path was going to be. And I just was never going to work. And then when I finally got into training, probably 2 years into navigating my own business, I was like, oh, this is actually doing good. I could build something out of this. And then 2 years went by, I graduated grad school, and I was really to able to dive into my business. And after that, I was like, oh, I can be a girl boss.
Yeah.
This. Like, I can make my own money.
I love that.
Yeah, so it was great from there.
I feel like a lot of us have that mindset too, depending on how you grew up. Because I grew up in the South and my mom never had a job. Okay. So it was always like the man works, very old school, which is fine. Yeah. I feel like a lot of women in this day and age love to be stay at home, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think there's something so powerful when you do come across something that is your passion or purpose, and you shift that mindset and it actually turns into success. And there's nothing wrong with the boss babe. Like, I am all for that. But it's super cool to hear that, you know, in the past you really thought like this is normal. Yeah. But I think there's something so cool about actually stepping out of your comfort zone and becoming something through that. Let's talk a little bit about your personal brand. So you own the She Club, which is a community of women, which I absolutely love. As a woman building your personal brand in fitness industry, what challenges have you faced and how do you overcome them?
I would say the main challenge is getting over your own self-limiting potential. Like, you have to genuinely be so delusional in the path that you're going to in order to achieve the things that you want. But unless you don't see it for yourself, like, it's just not going to happen. Yeah. So I think the last few years was shifting my mindset of being, oh, that's so cool that she's doing that. And now it's like, that's awesome that she's doing it. Now, what do I have to do to get there? That's good. There's always a vision of, I love that what she's doing. Now I know I can see that for myself, and like eliminating that self-limiting belief that you can't do it too. And then I would say another thing that I've had to overcome is, obviously everyone goes through, what's the word? Rejection. Everyone goes through rejection.
Or the fear of rejection.
The fear of it too, and maybe applying for a venue and not qualifying for the venue, or applying to work with a company that you want to work with and not getting the acceptance. And then down the line, you build up your brand so much that you're able to qualify for things like that and believing that you overall could. So
that's so cool. Yeah, I will say, I mean, all of us struggle with fear of rejection. That is like actually the one thing when I started my entrepreneur journey is like I really had to overcome that, because a lot of people see the beauty of being an entrepreneur, but what they don't see is behind the curtains of all the adversity you actually really go through. So I love that. Personal development is everything. And I feel like if you could have that mindset shift and even just break like generational things that
I agree,
maybe your family took over, or just that mindset really allows you to overcome those. Let's dive into fitness. How has fitness helped you build confidence both personally and professionally? Confidence is huge, especially with women who come in who are new to fitness. I know from my experience, or also haven't been in fitness in a while. What is something that has helped, professionally or personally with your confidence?
I definitely think playing things over, like repetition is key, with anything, with business, with fitness, with anything like that. And consistently exposing yourself to things that you would otherwise be uncomfortable to. So
that's good.
When it comes to fitness, when I started, it sounds terrible, and I used to do it, and I would never recommend one of my clients do this, but I used to do it. And I used to go to LVAC here, and I would wear like a tiny little sports bra and like tiny shorts, because in my head I was like, this is not how I want to look, so I need to change the way that I look. It was like this, I need to break through this barrier. I don't recommend doing that. But that's what worked for me at the time, was like facing the reality of your situation and being like, this activity is not getting me to where I need to be, so I need to change something, right? And over time, there was just this compound of maybe DMs that would say, hey, what are you eating? Or, hey, something's working for you. What can I do? And then you start to think like, oh, people are noticing, like maybe some things are actually working. And then that builds that confidence of like, okay, maybe I can actually do this. And there's just no way that fitness doesn't work if you put in the work. There's just no way it doesn't work. If you do the basics, same with business. If you put in the work, there's no way that you won't be successful. I genuinely believe that. So applying those aspects to all your life, and then walking into a room, being delusional and saying, everyone here loves me.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone here loves me. They think I'm amazing. And even if it's a lie to myself, it gives me
Sometimes
the
you just have to fake it to make it, really.
Yeah.
I remember I grew up in sports my whole life, played college ball. So I've always been just in the athlete world. But there was a season that I kind of just like took a break. And I remember getting back in, having to like put fitness clothes on and like get it back in my routine. I had taken a break for a couple years, was just going through it. But I remember walking back in the gym and I'm like, oh my gosh, Holly, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to be in this room that where people are way better, like people are better than you, people who motivate you, people who make you uncomfortable so you can step into the new version of yourself. But sometimes that's all it takes is just, you know, faking it till you making it and just breaking those barriers again of that mindset of just like, you know what, I'm here to better myself. And that's what the trainers are for. I feel like a lot of people get like anxiety. I know a couple of girls who are literally sit in the car.
Yeah.
And like have so much anxiety, and I'm like in the gym, like, where are you? Like, come on, like,
I know
it's time to work out.
It is debilitating.
Yeah,
it really, really is. And I think that gym anxiety is a term that's kind of thrown around a little bit, but it's a very real thing.
No, it is.
It's so nerve wracking. Even when you start with a trainer, like, you don't know what they're going to do to you, you know, the first time. And it's, you put yourself in such a vulnerable position of saying, hey, I need help. Yeah. And what can you do to help me? Yeah. You know, that's already such a hard step. So that's why it's so important to do other things that make you feel comfortable. Like bring your support water bottle, wear something that makes you feel good. Like those little things really do work to help build that confidence along the way.
I love that. Let's dive into a little bit of your community. So when you launched the She Club, you already had a passion and purpose for fitness. What kind of started that community and brand, and how did you build it basically like online?
Yeah. So I work with a company called First Form. Okay. They're a supplement company, but they're just so much more than that. And they are very big on community. Okay. And at the time, I was kind of getting into the community aspect, but like I would attend things, but I wasn't really hosting much. And they had suggested I start doing community workouts. And at the time, I just did them at our local gym. And within a minute of posting them, they would sell out within seconds.
I love that.
And I was like, whoa, like people actually want to come, you know, they want to come to these events. So over the year, the first year of starting them, people were like loving them, you know, they were selling out so quick. And I had a talk with my fiance at the time, and I basically was like, how could I scale this? Like this could be something bigger. And you have so many inspirations like Grace Run Club here. You have Girls Walk Vegas, like all of these big names that I was like, they're doing something right and I need to follow their footsteps, you know? So from there, we rebranded to She Club and started looking into different venues and exploring maybe this is more of just a gym aspect and how can we expand this a little bit more. And after that, it got a lot bigger and more fun. Like now it's just so much fun. And I love leading from the front. I love meeting all these girls and having actual relationships with them, you know?
Yeah. It's one thing to put on events because I have a lot of experience with just putting on events with my own business, but it's another thing when people show up and you're like, it's just your heart to do it. Yeah. And you're just like, oh my gosh, these people are here. Like they're building connections with other women and you see a system work. Yeah. And there's something so powerful with that. It's almost like a high too.
It is.
I remember putting on my first event and my first event was a solar event. And I think there was like 700 people that came. Wow. And it took me about 4 months to plan. And once the event was like there, I was just like, oh my gosh, like this system works. And then that's kind of when I decided this is what I want to do for myself.
I love that.
Love that your purpose is also your passion and it's working.
It's amazing.
Let's talk a little bit about habits and routines because this is so important, especially in a day-to-day life and even in fitness. What habits or routines has helped you stay disciplined and consistent even on the days you don't feel motivated? Because you are a personal coach. So I know that there are days that you're just like, you know, you're always motivated, but I'm sure there's days where you're just like,
I agree. Yeah.
I'm just burnt.
I am very big on setting boundaries. Okay. Like, and I thrive at it. I love at setting a good boundary. And this was something that took me so long to get to that point. But something as simple as like my bedtime routine cannot be budged.
Okay.
I thrive on going to sleep at the same time every night, taking my magnesium, like watching my comfort show, and I don't like to switch.
Okay.
I like that because I know that once I go to sleep, like for me, I like to be in bed by 7:30.
Okay.
It's my sweet spot. I like to
Dang, you're doing better than me. I like to get in bed by 8, and by like 8:39, I'm done. But
exactly.
I've always been a nighttime routine, and people used to call me grandma. And you know what? I'm in my 30s now, and people know, and I love it because I also know my body, and I know what it can perform the next day with that sleep.
Exactly. That's the exact same reason. Yeah. I know how my body feels when I get a full 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I feel my best. I can wake up the next day, and that starts my next day on a good note. So having a consistent bedtime routine and a wake up routine is essential for me. Obviously, there's other times when things come up, but for the most part, I like to stay pretty consistent on that. And then I eat the same foods pretty much every single day.
Okay.
There's not really much of a restriction that I have. I will allow myself to indulge in a lot of things because I spent years restricting myself. And when I was in bodybuilding, I couldn't even have like a piece of gum. And so now I don't like to say no to a lot of things because it puts me back in that place of deprivation. You know, and I just don't want to feel like fitness is like that anymore. So allowing myself to have the freedom of whatever I want to eat, but consistent whole foods stays.
But also balancing. That's kind of how I am. I'm a big firm believer of meal prep. Not only is it good financially, but also like I'm very similar. I eat the same thing pretty much throughout the week, but then having that one day a week to meet my cravings or whatever. And like you said earlier, I think in the past, all girls have been here is like, we kind of like before fitness or meal prep and all these, you know, discipline structure habits that you gain, I remember under eating all the time. Yeah. And then if I did eat bad once, it was like this guilt or shame or like, oh my God, I'm going to get fat. And
it's a terrible feeling and it's consuming. It's such a consuming feeling. And that's something that I really focus on with my clients is fitness should be fun. Yeah. Like this shouldn't be this end all be all.
Yeah, or survival mode.
Exactly. It shouldn't be like that. You should enjoy making your life better. And I'm just here along the way to support you in that. So definitely sticking to those things are my main habits. And other than that, honestly, I keep it pretty basic. I move. I get my 10K steps just because that makes me feel good. I strength train 3 to 4 times a week, and that's my end all.
Love that. Okay, perfect. So for the women who, let's kind of touch base. We talked a lot about consistency, discipline, even confidence. For the women who maybe feel intimidated starting their fitness journey, what is the first step you recommend? And this could be advice for the girl who either was in fitness a long time ago and then took a pause like I did in the past, or maybe she's just like didn't grow up with going to the gym. I know a lot of friends, their parents didn't go to the gym. It was never a daily habit. So now she's like maybe in her 30s, she's trying to get back into it. What is one step or maybe advice that you give your own clients just to kind of get them to start?
Yeah. So that first initial barrier is hard, you know, but when it comes to evaluating what you genuinely see yourself as, you need to take that first step. So it's very critical. So in terms of starting small, look up a YouTube video. You don't need to hire a trainer right off the bat. If you feel like that's too big of a step, look up a YouTube video. ChatGPT is great nowadays. Like if you want something to start on your own, that's okay. But when you get to the point where you have the courage to reach out to someone, asking for help is great. It's amazing. The more vulnerable you are, you will find your people and they'll help you through that process. So I would say start by looking stuff up online. We have literally so much access to anything. Workouts at home, in your room, no one even has to look at you if you're not ready for it yet. But then taking the leap to talk to someone and say, hey, this is where I'm at and I need help. Yeah. And the more vulnerable you are, the better, because it allows us to know as coaches, what can we do to provide you the best service to help you reach your goals.
Love that. Such good advice. How do you balance coaching clients, growing your business, attending events, and still make time for yourself? Give me some things that you like to pour, to fill up your cup. What are some things you said earlier? You like a sleeping routine, eat super healthy. What are some things that when all this is done for the day, whether it's coaching calls, events, and all this stuff, what are some stuff that you like to do to make time for yourself?
Yeah, I think this is a great question because it's where I lack the most.
Okay.
I struggle with this one a lot.
Okay.
I struggle a lot with burnout.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you know, being an entrepreneur, you are in charge of running your own business. It relies on you. So if you want it to be successful, you need to put in the work to do so, whether that's outside your 9 to 5, doesn't matter. So for me, I think that I really battle mentally with that.
Okay.
And when I do have the downtime, I like to set boundaries that I don't like to do anything on Sundays.
Okay. Love that.
I will work on Sundays, like work from home kind of thing, but I try to not make plans on Sundays at all. I really like to have at least one free day for me to start over.
Just to reset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also, I'm a hard cutoff at 5 p.m. for actual work.
Okay.
Like, I'll wake up at 4 a.m. to start my work day. But at 5 p.m., my laptop closes and I now sit down with Nick and we have an actual discussion at dinner. Like,
Love
we
that.
genuinely have that face-to-face time. We watch our show or do whatever we want to do, go on a walk. Because I think that if the night carries on past 5, I cannot clock out. So
good.
Just having that time is really essential to me. Nick and I have been traveling a lot recently, which is great. And during that week, no calls.
Yeah.
No calls. I'll get back to you. I'm out of office.
Yeah.
So I think just setting boundaries around being present and enjoying my time with my friends, my family, really matters a lot for me to be able to recharge for the week.
I love that. And I love that you said by 5 o'clock you're done. That's something I'm working on too, because I feel like after 5, like I'll get in this tunnel vision of like knocking things out. And then it's like, oh my gosh, it's 8 or 9 o'clock.
Exactly.
I haven't had time to just wind down and rest. But I think that's super powerful because I feel like a lot of us, no one puts the phones down anymore. I see a lot of people have dinner and they're on their phones, but it's so important for you to be intentional with your family, your partner, whoever, and it kind of resets the week.
I agree.
What is one lesson from fitness that has directly translated into success in business and entrepreneurship? Was there like a season of your life where you really learned this one powerful lesson or just experienced something that you're like, okay, this is going to set me up for success if I overcome this?
I would say it goes back to that self-limiting belief.
Okay.
So last year, Nick and I had moved in with my parents in the beginning of, what year are we, 2026? So in the beginning of 2025, Nick and I kind of started over. We moved in with my parents. We didn't know where we were going to live yet. And we couldn't afford to buy a house at the time. So we really just kind of started our life over. And when we finally moved into our now house, I felt like my potential skyrocketed and I was able to monetize other platforms immediately. I was able to build my brand and work with other brand deals or work with big companies. And I just felt like that belief of I can actually do the things that I want to do if I go get it. So I don't think that it was a matter of these deals are going to come to me or this opportunity is going to walk through my door. It was like, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah. You have to know the right people. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and go get it. Otherwise, it's never going to come for you.
Yeah.
So when we finally moved into our house, I feel like that was when I woke up and I realized I could make my dream life.
Yeah.
I want my life to look like this, so I'm going to go get it. I'm going to find a way to make my life look exactly the way that I want to.
I love that too. And I think that's so powerful too, because I feel like a lot of us, we it's one thing to think and dream the vision, but it's another thing to like actually put in the work. And that's what I've learned over the years, even as being an entrepreneur and owning a business. Like being an entrepreneur, like if you don't put in the work, you don't get paid. That's just how it is.
It is.
And then when you go through these really low seasons, honestly, it's blunt, but it really is your fault. Like if you don't put in the work, and that goes into fitness too, if you don't put in the work and eat healthy and show up and take the pictures and have the accountability, your body's not going to change.
It's a harsh reality.
And so it goes into all these things, but I love that you had made a comment. You said, you know, I really can build the life I want, because you really can. I come from a very traditional family. Mom didn't work, dad worked. No one is entrepreneurship and like entrepreneurs in 3 years of bloodline of my family history. So like I'm the oddball. I'm the one that actually like moved, took the risk, the crazy one. But now they see, they're like, oh my gosh.
It's working.
It's working. Exactly. And you really can create the life you want to live. I remember being younger, and I'm like, I want to own my own business. I just want to be at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to create something I have a heart for and all these things. And it took years to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you have to put in the work.
I agree.
Well, as we wrap up this podcast, if you could speak to the women who maybe feel stuck, overwhelmed, or afraid to chase their goals, what is one message you would want her to hear today? If you could sum up the fitness, the journey you've taken, the good, the bad seasons, you know, one thing that has really created in your purpose, but also like who Gianni is today.
Yeah.
If you could talk to your younger self to influence the women, what would it be?
I would say that there is a version of you that is begging you to take the next step right now. And the longer that you wait, the longer that she comes to vision. But she is literally begging you to unlock your potential and to put your foot on the gas.
Love that. That's so good. Well, tell us a little bit about how the girls who are listening can find you on social media and as well as connect maybe with your She Club.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram with _ Gianni Bianco. And then I'm on TikTok with Gianni Bianco with 3 O's at the end. And then I'm on She Club with she.clublv.
Love that. Well, thank you so much just for sharing your story. Excited to see your business flourish. You are such a bubbly person and a light, and you can really see like what you do for a living is like who you are.
Thank you.
And I love that. And I feel like that relates to a lot of women too. It's one thing to be a personal trainer, but it's also to like live it out and empower other women, and you're doing that. So just kind of thank you for sharing your story. And for the girls who are listening, we'll make sure to put all of her business stuff on our Instagram as well as YouTube. Connect with her, and also if you're in Vegas and want to dive into the fitness world or just connect with the community, she's your girl. So Gianni, thanks for being here.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That was so much fun.
Thanks, girls, for listening, and stay tuned for next week.